Ladies and gentlemen, it is me again, Andre Norman, your host of Community Conversations. And today, we are in Greenville, South Carolina.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? South Cackalack for y'all down south. 95 south if y'all coming from up north. But on real talk, Community Conversations is a platform. We go around the world and we sit with people in their towns and we have conversations. This platform goes on a system called JPay. And it goes throughout the prison system of America. And men and women who are currently locked up, this is what this is for. So they can hear your voice, hear our conversations, and learn how to grow and be better.
Beautiful thing.
Here in Greenville, give me some historians from Greenville.
Kevin Garnett, Boston Celtic, former Boston Celtic. Reverend Jesse Jackson. I would be remiss not to recognize my father, Dr. Bill Gibson, former chairman of the board, NAACP.
Okay.
And,
so, shout out to the historians. I'm sure there are many more that we don't have opportunity and time to mention, but Greenville is historic. It's been here, it's going to be here, and we're glad that you're here. So, the reason we're here today is because I go around to prisons and juvenile centers around the world. And I bring a message, and I share hope, and I try to encourage people to do and be better. And the one thing I've been asked more than anything is, Andre, we appreciate you. Can you get us other folks who've been just as involved or impacted to speak to us? So that's what we're doing. Today in Greenville, you are leading us off. We're going to share your story because you're here. That's the key thing. In prison, all you ever see are parole failures. The people who went home, messed up, and came back, and have every excuse why it's not their fault. The brothers and the sisters who got out and stayed out, they don't have access to. But with the advent of technology, they now have access to. So, if you be so kind as to tell us what it was like growing up in Greenville.
My name is Bill Gibson, and I grew up here in Greenville. Had great parents. Greenville coming up, I will say I never really felt racism that did exist then and still exists now. I'm 59 years old, so you can imagine what type of community I grew up in. Church folks, good neighbor folks. You know, Miss Peterson could whoop you, Mr. Jones down the street could whoop you and take you home and you get another whooping. Had great community support. Where I feel like I got involved with criminality is at the age of 10, I started smoking weed and subsequently start stealing little things, and little things turned into bigger things. I can remember my first interaction with the criminal justice system. I was 10, I was in the 5th grade. I sold a boy a joint of weed. He got caught with it, told it on me. Next thing I know, I went to the office, and the police was at the office at the elementary school. And this was in 1973. And I think from there, you know,
But hold on. I got that. You out there, I'm not even going to ask where you found the weed or why you thought it was cool to sell it to a 5th grader, why you even needed the money. I heard you say, my father was a national chairman of the NAACP.
And a doctor.
My father was a doctor and the chairman of the national NAACP. I grew up in a house with both mom and dad.
Yes.
I don't know what they paid directors and doctors back in the day, but I think it was enough to buy you sneakers.
Yes.
To buy you clothes.
Yes.
You weren't a free lunch kid.
No.
So why would you need to sell anything, legal or illegal, to another 5th grader?
Selling the marijuana wasn't about money. It was that I had some weed, and this kid knew I had some weed, and I was high, and you know, I knew that a joint went for $1 because, you know, in my neighborhood I had witnessed.
Why are you selling anything? When you're
at 10 years old, I could not tell you.
Because I grew up, I go in the house and sometimes there wasn't no food.
There was always food in my house.
I go in the house, sometimes the heat don't work.
Heat was always on.
I go home, sometimes the light go out.
Never did know about the lights getting out till I started smoking crack. So I get what you're saying,
as a 5th grader,
yeah,
Why do you need to be doing this?
In retrospect, I think that, just using drugs, man, having my mind and my mood altered. I was 10 years old on weed, I wasn't cognizant of I'm selling weed to make money. No, that wasn't even, in retrospect, I knew that wasn't my purpose. It was, I could have gave it to him,
What did you're in the police, you're in the principal's office. The
Yeah.
police come, that old
Yeah.
scenario.
Yeah.
At some point they call dad, because you're 10 years
They
old.
they called dad and mom.
So what do they say to you at that juncture?
My parents, man, I think they were, somewhat naive. You got to think this is 1973.
It could be 1923.
Yeah,
What
I'm
is
just.
your mom, not what year it was, what do they say to you? When
Oh,
when
man.
you tell your parents,
I got a beating. Got a beating. What are you doing? How could you do this? They were perplexed. They never, like you say, my dad was a doctor, very prominent doctor in Greenville, South Carolina. My mom was a school teacher, that was the worst. In retrospect, I knew that they did never imagine their 10-year-old son, and I'm the oldest, the junior, being caught with weed and a private, predominantly white school.
no.
I'm just giving
trying to
you
figure
the.
out, no, I don't care about that part. What did they say to you?
Oh, they whooped my ass. They told whoop my ass, and how could you do this? And don't never do it again.
Gotcha.
And I was like,
so now that's 10. You're 10.
yeah.
Something tell me you did it again. In some form
I
of
finished up school that year. I started going to public school in the 6th grade, and I started getting in trouble at school. Just everything, talking back to teachers, fighting. By the 7th grade, I got expelled from school. In the 8th grade, I went to Boggs Academy in Keysville, Georgia. That was a college prep school back then for black folks that had a little prominence, a little money. I went there for a year, got kicked out of there, came back to public school. 9th grade, I was in juvenile. I went to juvenile.
So, okay, this is the thing. What is your dad saying throughout this whole experience?
He's whooping my ass,
You can't
and he's telling me, boy, you better stop. In retrospect, I think that they were, like I say, they was naive, man. They didn't know.
He thought a beating would fix it.
Yeah, they thought that was, because that was their experience. My dad was born in Darlington, South Carolina in 1932. So
Beating fixed everything.
beating fixed everything. Jesus.
And you hitting you with both.
I done been baptized 3-4 times.
He's hitting you with baptisms and he's hitting you with
belts, and and they really thought, and in retrospect, now being that I deal with addiction and have been in addiction, and I understand addiction, they didn't know what the end of that get. Yeah.
So you go through high school, just not doing well.
I got sent to in South Carolina, they call it John G. Richards. That's reformatory for boys. I was sent to John G. Richards in the 10th grade. From the 9th and the 10th, I went to like 3 schools. Carolina Southside Jail, man. Kept getting kicked out. I went to John G. in the 10th grade. I stayed in John G. until the 12th grade. It was like almost 2 years. And when I came home, I was almost 17 years old. And I thought I was grown. And I just...
So you ended up getting in trouble.
Yes.
You go to prison.
Yes. Stealing, breaking in.
Okay. You go to prison. What was it like when you first got there?
Your
mindset.
My mindset, I was scared because you had heard all the horror stories about John G. But you gotta understand that from 10 until I finally got sent to John G at 15, I had been in a lot of stuff, and I realized that once I was able to conquer jail, once I went to jail the first time, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
It was easier.
Yeah, it got easier.
The deterrent was gone.
I was always had a little height on me, you know what I'm saying? And, I knew I couldn't be, I had to be fearless, because I'm the doctor's son, you know what I mean? And, just like the preacher's son.
So you go to prison at 8, not juvenile, but you went to juvenile, but you go to adult prison.
At 17.
At 17. How long did you stay for? You went to jail at 15, juvenile.
Right.
And you came home. And what you do different?
I did nothing different, and in retrospect, I feel I was more criminal than ever. I kept, getting high. I was introduced to cocaine. Uh, Everything progressed.
So you went back.
I went back.
So you went back.
I like 8 months. From the age of 17 as an adult to the age of 38.
So you're going too far.
Okay.
So at 15, you go in, you get out.
I get out.
What did you change? You didn't change nothing. You started getting high more.
Yes.
So you went back.
Yes.
How long did you stay that time?
I stayed 11 months on the youth offender centers.
They let you out again?
They let me out again.
You do anything different?
Nothing.
What happened different then? What happened after they let you out, after 11 months?
I jumped right back on the block, kept doing everything I was doing, and 9 months later I was back in jail.
So you went back, this is the third time?
This is the third time.
How long did you stay this time?
I stayed 13 months.
Okay. You came home again?
Came home again.
What you do different?
Nothing.
So?
Absolutely nothing. I take that back. By that time, I realized I had a cocaine problem. My parents, like I said, I had good parents. They got me in a treatment center. I did go to a treatment center. That's when I moved to Atlanta, Georgia. I moved to
How did the treatment center do for you?
It gave me a little awareness of what my problem was, but I still thought that I was different than the average addict that we talked to when we went to meetings and stuff like that.
What made you different?
I was Bill Gibson. I wasn't gonna end up like them. I was sharper than them, smarter than them.
Son of the doctor.
Tougher than them. You know what I mean? By that time now, I was, I think I was always trying to get away from that as a youngster. As a youngster, I was trying to get away from that.
So you the only dude in the neighborhood with a doctor for a dad, and you trying to run away from that?
I'm trying to run away from it. I like the dudes that's, got the Cadillacs and big hats and the, selling dope, and, I was more attracted to that than I was to.
So you went to treatment, you're in Georgia. What happened in Georgia?
I went to a MARP program. That's a transitional housing in Smyrna, Georgia. I stayed there like 3 or 4 months. After 4 months, I still was criminal, and I robbed a jewelry store.
And what happened?
Georgia. I got time. I got sentenced to 15 years, do 3. I did 3
Hold
years
on.
in Georgia State Penitentiary.
So you did 3 years in Georgia for robbing a jewelry store?
Yeah.
Then you got out?
I got out.
What did you do different?
Nothing. By this time, crack cocaine had came to Greenville. I lasted 4 months. I got out October the 16th, 1987, February of 88. I was back in jail.
And what did they give you this time?
20 years.
Okay. So now you're getting serious. They gave you 20 years this time. 20 years sounds serious to me.
Yeah, back then in retrospect.
20 years
it's
sentence.
Very serious.
You sitting in court and the judge says, boom, Mr. Gibson, 20 years.
Yeah.
That didn't get your attention?
I thought I was going to get 10. They gave me 20. I was mad at the lawyer and everybody else. I really wasn't really mad at myself. And when I got back to the penitentiary, I just adapted, man.
So you okay. So how long did you do on the 20?
I did 6 years and made parole.
You made parole on 20. So you came home on parole. So how did you do?
Stayed out 9 months.
9 months. And then what happened?
I went back on the violation of parole. I had more charges that was running consecutive, and I did 7 years.
You did 7 now?
Yeah, but
hold on. You did 7 more?
I did 7
Did they let you out again?
They let me out again.
You got like a rabbit's foot or something?
Well, my parents, you understand, by this time, my dad had a lot of influence. I told you, he was national chairman of the board. He had a lot of influence. South Carolina Pardon Parole Board was predominantly ran by blacks at that time, or a lot of good people.
So your dad helped you get back out.
My dad and
shout out to dad, shout out to mom for not giving up on you.
No.
So you come home after the 7.
Yeah.
You did 7 more. You did 6, then you did 7. You come home. How long did you last?
I lasted 11 years.
11 years.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds like a great run. So you've been out for 11 years now?
No, sir. I went back in
Hold on.
2014.
Wait a minute.
When I went back.
Hold on. You came home.
Yeah.
You made it 11 years.
I was hustling to sell the dope the whole time.
You just didn't get caught.
I just didn't get caught. I wasn't getting high no more. I quit getting high. When I went back, I stopped.
You finally beat the habit,
beat the
but you didn't beat the lifestyle.
I did not beat the criminality of it. I was still a criminal.
So for 11 years, you was committing crimes. You just didn't get caught.
Just didn't get caught.
So you got caught after 11, and then how long you going this time?
At the age of 51, I got caught.
Hold on. 51?
51. I was 51 years old.
You going back?
I went back to jail at 51.
So you go back at 51?
Yes.
How long you stay for?
A little over 7 years.
So you came home again at 58?
58. Well, 57, I got to the halfway house 5 days for my birthday. So.
No, halfway I was still locked up.
Yeah.
So this is the seventh time home.
Yes.
It's seventh time the charm.
Seventh time definitely a charm for me.
So
Definitely.
this the thing. Most people want to get into the grit and the story about you robbed this or you did that or you jumped over this fence. That's a waste of time.
Yeah.
You went in, you came out 7 times. What's going to be different this time?
What changed for me was while I was in, I had a different plan. For 6 times that I got out, plan A through Z was some criminal. I always had some criminal
In there someplace.
Yeah. This time, even before I went to jail, really, I was just like really caught up in the game, and it was hard to stop. You know what I'm saying? It was just too easy for me. And
Was the time too easy too?
no, the time was not too easy.
So you need to equate the hard part of the time with the too easy plan.
Yeah, but in retrospect, we could say that. But when you're going through the motions of it, like you say, I had been out damn near 11 years. My experience was I had been back in jail one time in 4 months. So I kind of thought that I had.
You figured that something out.
Yeah.
You figured you had this little groove, this little niche.
Man, I was in my lane. I was groovy,
But this is the thing I tell people about criminality. At some point, you're going to get caught.
You're going
At some point. Yeah. Whether it's 2 months in or 20 years in, at some point the gig's up.
Yeah. But my logic, while I was still involved in my criminality at 48, 49, 50, 51, when we spoke about earlier about a calculated risk, my mindset was I hope the state get me. Because if the state get me, I got the kind of money where I can
buy your way up.
Yeah.
You plotting and scheming to get out of the sentence before you can.
Yeah. So
So you've been home now for almost 2 years?
I've been home since January 26th last year. While I was incarcerated, my whole meaning and purpose changed. I'm 51 years old. I go in. I got to find something a bit different to do. So I just started.
So hold on. Going in the last time, you finally realized you was going to do something different.
Yeah.
The other times you just went there and just adapted.
Yeah.
You know what you're adapting to? Chaos and trauma.
Yeah.
So now you're going and looking for solutions and positivity.
Exactly.
Did you find it?
Yes, I did.
In the same prison you've been in all the other times?
The same prisons, and that's
the crazy part.
Yeah, man.
The same hallways. There was a door on the right that went to the yard. There's a door on the left that went to programs.
Went to the basketball court, program.
You never went to the program door?
Never went to the,
For real.
Yeah, for real.
Passed through.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
But you went to programs the last time?
Yeah, I went to programs the last time.
And the programs work?
The programs work. I look back at my life, what I have been involved in, multiple incarceration, dealing with addiction. I said, man, you may have aptitude for addiction recovery and reentry. You did it enough. I did a lot of studying about addiction recovery, reentry. Just tried to involve myself and learn everything that I could. Went through the RDAP program twice. Well, I went through the non-residential and the residential. You familiar with that? Being a former federal, and that was beneficial to me. And then my parents, they've been activists my whole life, and I didn't even realize that, man, your whole life been a masterclass in activism, advocacy, and so I started looking at that. That all came back to me, and I came up with this idea for an organization called the CARS Project. And CARS is an acronym for Community Addiction Recovery and Reentry Services. And what we do is we make recovery and reentry services more accessible, because you probably can attest to this, coming out of prison. It's not always the availability of programs for guys, but it's the accessibility. You don't have little or no money, no transportation. You back in pretty much the same neighborhood that you came out of. Services are not nested in these communities. So what we do at the CARS Project, we bring these services to communities that have been disproportionately impacted by addiction, criminality, incarceration, recidivism, and trauma.
So you're taking everything that you've been through, all your experiences, and you're making them work for you.
Yes, sir.
I've been out of work for 22 years. I've been waiting on you.
Yeah, okay.
Man, listen.
Let's go.
Now, for the brothers and sisters who are watching, what do you want to say to them about what should they, if you could go back that first time, if I could take you back in that first time when you did like a couple months, 7, 8, 10 months, or even the first time you did 6 years, You went in on the jewelry in Georgia, and you did 6 years. What would you do differently, knowing what you know now?
I wish I had a better perspective about my addiction, about my substance use and abuse. I didn't even realize I was a dope fiend. I was in denial. I didn't want to admit at 22 years old I was a dope fiend. You know, they gave me this old name, Dollar Bill, and shit, I wanted to be Dollar Bill, you know. And I wish I had a lot better insight about the things that actually put me in jail. I always looked at the police, the prosecutor, and the judge. You know, I never looked at the cocaine, the criminality, and me. And you know, I wish I would have had a better perspective about that. Just start looking at my life, man, and finding out, what I had an aptitude for, something that I could do that was legit, that I could actually have a viable occupation with. I wish I would have did that. And I wish I would have took advantage of a lot of the programs and opportunities that was available. Because see, when I was going to jail back then, we were still getting degrees in South Carolina from the University of South Carolina. You could actually go to the University of South Carolina, receive.
But why would you go to university when you're running from your dad?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
You still running from your dad?
No, man. I'm chasing him now. I'm chasing him. Chasing him.
How's that?
Beautiful.
So what is it like?
Humbling.
What is it like having your dad in your life now?
My father, he's been passed, but just realizing everything that they had planned for you come to fruition. Better late than never. My mother always used to say better late than never. And it's beautiful. I wish they was here to see it. I have a son. He is Bill Gibson III. So I'm trying to be that great example for him, because when I look at my parents left here, they didn't have a lot of money. They was true community activists and advocates, and they, old school, they didn't know how to, parlay this thing into a profession that really paid, but they gave me a great example of what a good human being is, and that's what you see now, So I'm just appreciative, man. Humbled, appreciative, and grateful, man. You know what I'm saying, for the opportunity.
There's a lot of people watching who've disappointed our parents.
Yes.
I always tell people, for 14 years, my mother couldn't say my name with pride because I wasn't doing anything positive or constructive that was worthy of speaking of.
Yes.
So anytime she got into a conversation, women talk about their kids, she could never mention me. Now my mom would tell you, oh, my son's crushing it. He's all over the world. He's doing his thing. He's giving back. He's giving forward. He's giving sideways. He's just out there going. If you could give a message to your mom and dad, what would you say to each of them?
Thank you.
For what?
Just for the example that they gave me of a great human being. My mom, for being more hands-on, my old man was old school. I remember he came down to Tenton Center down here at 17 when I went back at 17 as an adult, because he rode with me through the juvenile. He used to come see me. He was state president in NAACP back then. He said, if you go back to penitentiary, I ain't coming to see you. And I would have to say he was a man of his word. he never did that, but tough love, thank you. And it's all working out, man. And I am very optimistic about the future of the Cars Project. At this point for me, and you probably can attest to this, just being of service, being an asset instead of a liability to my community. Now I'm out, people, they call, you know what I'm saying?
Call you for good stuff.
Yeah, man.
Instead of saying you broke in the house, they're like, come help my son who broke in the house.
Yeah.
You get it. But I want you to make your parents a promise. And the whole prison system is watching you, going to hold you accountable. Yes. Accountability is everything.
Yes.
So what is a promise that you're going to make your parents going forward for the rest of your days?
I'm committed to this work and just committed to continuing their legacy, man. When I was young, I think I got more caught up on money, and I played the game of life for money, but now I am playing this thing for legacy. And brothers and sisters, definitely in the South Carolina Department of Corrections that know me, I just want to try to give them some hope, man. You know what I'm saying? And when y'all come, I got resources for you, and just be a good example, man, of what a good human being is. That's my number one promise to my parents.
So that's a phenomenal thing. For all the people who are dealing with addiction and criminal mindset and criminal thinking, short question, can it be beaten?
Yes, definitely.
What are the major things that they need to do to beat addiction and criminal thinking?
Start looking at your life objectively for what it is. I think for so long I always found a way to minimize and justify what I was doing. And when I finally looked in the mirror and saw myself for who I really was irresponsible, unaccountable, dishonest, disloyal.
A bunch of stuff.
A bunch of stuff. Attributes in the game.
Yeah.
In the game, but in real life, I finally realized them wasn't attributes at all. It was liabilities, And just getting a better perspective on, who you really are, who you've been, and who you want to be. But I'm one thing about the addiction, that's you got to want that. You can't. Mama played a part in it, daddy played a part in it, family played a part in it. But me personally, I didn't quit till I got sick and tired. I just couldn't be that dude no more. You know what I'm saying? See, I saw myself sitting here doing interviews with dudes like you instead of running down the street, robbing and stealing it. So just a different perspective of who you've been, who you is, and who you want to be.
It was a pleasure to have you here, man. Your turnaround, your growth, your story is phenomenal. The people watching this video, the people got their little tablets out. They got tablets in prison. They didn't have tablets out in prison. They are on a whole nother level. Yeah. You're about to go speak through this platform to over 1 million people who are going to hear your story. And I'm more than positive they're going to hear from you again. Because they want to monitor your success, because there's been seven attempts. They want to make sure the 7th one sticks. Yeah. Because if you fail, that gives them opportunity to fail.
Can I add one more thing? Start doing what you want to do now. See, I started this work by the Card Project in prison. I knew I could not wait to give a certain parts of it that I would have to wait and get out and actually bring to fruition. But for the reading and the studying, and like the brother said, hey, that basketball court gonna be there.
Let somebody else have it.
Guess what? I can't even play basketball.
You was tall for nothing?
I'm tall for nothing now. Now.
Back in the day.
But guess what I can do though?
You can think.
Exactly.
As my brother Giant would say, salute that mind. But definitely appreciate you stopping by. And I'm hoping, ladies and gentlemen, this is what you asked for. Real people, real stories in real time. Community conversations. Greenville, South Carolina. We'll see you soon.